Alright, that's more like it. You know, Impact has been really hit and miss since January 4th, but this was definitely the best show since the Hogan Bischoff regime took over. And that's very good since this was a go-home show, and that's when you really need to put your best foot forward. First off, this is the most well-paced show the TNA has put on in a while. Were things still moving too fast? Yes, but they weren't moving so fast that it felt like they were in a rush to get to the end of the show. Some of the matches actually got decent time for a change. There was solid hype for Against All Odds. The Nasty Boys were nowhere to be seen, thank God. Very solid show overall. You know, we had a very good match with Doug Williams and Amazing Red. There are two things I loved about this. Number one, there was actually an X Division match on the show. Imagine that. Number two, this was a rematch from when Doug Williams won the X Division title from Amazing Red 2 weeks ago. A title rematch. I don't know if you guys realize the significance of that. When was the last time a former champion actually got a rematch to try to win his title back in TNA? I don't even remember. You know, I don't expect this to be a recurring trend or anything, but damn it, it was really nice to see a former champion actually get a rematch, because former champions should normally get rematches unless it's under special circumstances. And they usually don't in TNA for some reason. I don't understand that, but that was very cool. We had some good stuff from the knockouts. You know, I'm not a proponent of this new push of the beautiful people at all. Far from it. But I did like this segment because the booking was actually smart for a change. You know, Lacey Von Erich did almost nothing. Tara and Angelina dominated most of the match just as they should. But eventually they just got overwhelmed because the heels had the numbers advantage. So the heels get some heat on them, and the faces look strong in defeat. That's good booking. The only thing about the storyline that isn't quite clicking for me is that I think they're making too big a deal out of the fact that Tara and Angelina are teaming up now. I mean, this video package before the match, I mean, this thing made it look like they were bitter, hated enemies, and their rivalry went back years and years, when the truth of the matter is, they feuded for maybe 2 months last summer, if that. And they only had, I think, 3 singles matches total, and none of those matches were even that good. I mean, this would make so much more sense if it was Angelina and Roxy teaming up instead of Angelina and Tara. And I'm about 99% sure that this spot that Tara's in right now was originally earmarked for Roxy before she went down with a broken ankle. Now, since Tara and Angelina are still outnumbered 3-2, I expect Roxy will be the one to even the odds once she's cleared to wrestle, which hopefully won't be too much longer. Also, we had a really nice main event. Well, not a really nice main event, but a good main event. It wasn't overly short, with Kurt Angle, Ken Anderson, Desmond Wolfe, and Hernandez. I didn't like that Desmond Wolfe got jobbed out again, but he didn't look that bad in defeat. You know, the booking was good. I like the stuff with Angle and Anderson. I just really hope that the writers have something up their sleeves for Against All Odds, because right now it looks pretty damn obvious that the outcome of this tournament is going to somehow be decided by those two guys. So I hope there's a little more to it than just that. Once again, the segment with AJ, Joe, and Flair was the best thing on the show. I think all 3 guys were great on the mic. Even AJ, surprisingly enough. I mean, maybe Flair's rubbing off on him. And the best part about this was that they said everything that needed to be said. Because if Joe was going to call AJ a sellout, then AJ absolutely had to take Joe to task for that. Because Joe really has no right to accuse anyone of selling out, because that's exactly what Joe did at Slammiversary last year. And it would have been absolutely horrible writing if they just ignored that. But AJ calls him out on it, Joe owned up to it, and now that base is covered. Now Joe's position is that, yeah, I may have sold out in the past, I may have done some bad things, but at least I've always been my own man. Whereas you just attach your lips to the ass of every name star that shows up in TNA. And that's smart writing, because that's exactly what AJ's character has done for the last few years. He did it with Christian, did it with Kurt Angle, and now he's doing it with Flair. So it's terrific stuff there. Great segment. The only problem was, just like last week, this really should have been the main event angle. Instead, once again, the main event segment, and the majority of the screen time for that matter, was devoted to this storyline of Hogan, Kurt Angle, and the band. And I fail to see what's so important about this storyline that it's getting so much precedence over the guys who are headlining the pay-per-view on Sunday, especially since all but one of those people aren't even on the card. But I've already been over that. And that brings us to Against All Odds. As I've said several times already, I'm streaming this pay-per-view. I will not pay money for it. I'm boycotting it because of the Nasty Boys match. I absolutely refuse to pay money for a pay-per-view that has the Nasty Boys on it. And, you know, I almost kind of feel bad for saying that, because aside from the Nasty Boys crap, this pay-per-view looks like it could be pretty good. You know, there's some very good potential matchups in this 8-card stud tournament. You got Desmond Wolfe and the Pope, Matt Morgan Hernandez. We might see Desmond Wolfe and Kurt Angle again. We might see Kurt Angle and Abyss again. So I feel like this tournament will definitely deliver. The only thing that worries me is that with 9 matches on this pay-per-view, they might not get as much time as they should. And if Kurt Angle is as beat up as they say he is, it might not be a good idea for him to be wrestling 3 matches in one night. So that's something to keep in mind. But the main event, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe in an Eric Bischoff's gonna screw Samoa Joe match. You know, hopefully they won't go for that finish. I'm not too optimistic about that, but we'll see. Are their matches better when AJ is the face and Joe is the heel? Yes, but it should be a great match regardless. However, I am expecting a lot of interference from Flair. I'm expecting AJ to kind of play the chicken shit heel and have Joe chase him around for a lot of the match. I'm not expecting a clean finish, but unless Hogan and Bischoff are smoking crack when they're laying this match out, then AJ Styles and Samoa Joe delivering a bad main event is something that I really don't think we need to be concerned with. So, if you disregard the Nasty Boys, Against All Odds actually looks pretty good on paper. You know, I'm excited to see it, even if I won't be paying for it. Check out the blog for more of my thoughts on this pay-per-view. Link is in the description box. Some people have asked me for my thoughts on WWE doing away with Survivor Series. I think it's stupid, and Vince's explanation for it was completely asinine. It's not that people don't care about the elimination matches anymore. Fans would care about the elimination matches if you actually gave them a reason to. But when you just do random team babyface versus random team heel without any kind of reason or explanation why these people are working together or why they're fighting, no one's going to care about that. And that's why Survivor Series buy rates sucked this year, because the build-up was crap and no one cared about the matches. The problem is not elimination matches. The problem is Vince and his writers are a bunch of idiots. That's all I feel like saying about that right now, but I expect we'll get more into it on QCW Radio tonight, so check that out. blogtalkradio.com/QCW Radio, or you can listen to it on angrymarks.com as well. It's 11 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be all for me. So enjoy Against All Odds. I'll see you guys next week. It's FK9 signing off.